What's up, guys? It's your boy Nick Davis with 239 Flies, and today we're going to tie the Poon Foxy or Tarpon Bunny, whichever you want to call it. It's a fly you can tie with the Mega Lollipop HD kit. It's just another little variation. You can add a couple of materials to it, all of which are offered on 239 Flies. If you want to, kind of upgrade the pattern a little bit. But if you don't, you can also spin it with the materials that are in the kit. But without further ado, let's get tying. Alright, I'm going to use a Tiemco 600 SP size 1 for this, but you don't have to. You can tie it on whatever you like. These are ridiculously expensive. I'm not sure they're totally worth the money, but I'm going to be throwing these pretty much at tarpon exclusively, so I'll go ahead and spend the extra money to do it. But you can easily tie this fly on a Daiichi 2546 or even a Gamakatsu SL12S or SC15, anything. Short shank, wide gap, regular shank, long gap, doesn't matter. And start by tying your chartreuse thread on there, or flow green, and wrap it back till the thread hangs behind the barb of the hook. Same steps as before. I'm just going to take this red cactus chenille, wrap it in. I try to do this on a lot of my flies just because it adds a little flavor with a little function. Helps keep the bunny strip or Arctic fox or pseudo hair from fouling around the hook shank. Gives a little wider of a base to sit on. So plus it looks good. Gills or egg sac or blood or eggs or whatever. Just adds a little extra something. So tie that in, a few securing wraps in front of it. The thread should hang just in front of the barb of the hook. Trim that off. Alright, next we'll take this hard mono again. Again, this is kind of an optional step, but it's recommended that you take it. But you certainly don't have to. It's just a mono loop that's going to help keep the rabbit strip from fouling around the hook shank. We want to tie this in so that it is straight up and down, so this curve of so that doesn't happen. See that? That's what you don't want to happen. So when you flatten this out and that happens, start over. That's better. That's close enough. We're going to trim the top of this off. So the way you could always check is bend it down and make sure that it runs straight, and it does. So we're good there. Like this. We're going to cut it there. All right. Now grab you a nice section of your bunny strip. A nice section right there, that'll work. Grab your razor again, hold the hide, and just cut off. The length of the strip really is personal preference, but I don't like to go too crazy. 3 or 4 inches is plenty. Yeah, we're going to tie that on there right there where the green matches where the green fibers start coming on top of the yellow. I'm just going to tie that in right there. Poke a hole all the way through the hide, right in the center, about 1 inch up. And then slip your mono through there. That's solid. That thing's going nowhere. And run it back down the hook shank. So you've got a loop that runs, instead of underneath of it, that lets this thing flop around it, runs through the hide of the rabbit strip and keeps that sucker right in place. Stevie Wonder couldn't foul this fly. Palmer chenille. Use polar chenille, Palmer chenille, any type of flash, any type of wrapping flash that you're going to Palmer and that's not going to foul. I've already confessed my undying love for these types of products. Flash that doesn't foul. Can't stress it enough. And we're just going to wrap it all the way to the front to where our rabbit strip stops. 4 or 5 wraps. You can do 2 or 3. You can do 4 or 5. You don't have to do any at all. Whatever you feel like. It's your world. Just living in it. Tie that down there. Alright. And that's good there. Now, next step, we're going to take our Arctic Fox. Nice little section here. We don't need too much, just maybe about that much right there. Maybe the quarter of a diameter of a pencil when it's compressed. We're going to pull out the guard hairs. Alright, take about maybe inch, a little under an inch. And we're just going to lay it over the hook shank, split it evenly on each side of the hook point, and give it a couple of securing wraps. Same steps as the Mega Lollipop HD to this point. Tie in the top. Same length. My dogs say hi. Then we're going to trim the top. And trim the bottom. We're going to hit pat his camera. And just trim this into an even taper because we're going to cover it with thread. We want to best start that we can. And now we're pretty much done tying in materials. What we're going to do is we're just going to work our thread to the front. I figure that's about the length of the size of the head that I want to put on this fly. So now we'll just start working on building a nice little taper. Just do that with thread. Several wraps. This is also the style of a head that you would use to tie the deceiver, which is one of my favorite flies, especially favorite snook flies. We'll do that video eventually too. Like all my other flies, it's rocket science. It's going to require a very in-depth tutorial. Very, very difficult to tie. A lot of sarcasm there. Alright, so that looks good, I think. We're going to whip finish. We don't have to go too crazy on the whips here because we're going to cover over all of this with some quality Loon products. What I want to do is now that this head is finished, I just kind of want to melt this wax and trim up any of the loose fibers on the head and kind of secure those with the lighter. I like to do things a little bit more differently. I like to cram as many materials on the hook as I possibly can because that's how I roll, and I really love this stuff. This is Loon Hardhead, Loon UV, or this is not a UV product. This is a air dry product, but I love this stuff. We're pretty much going to cover that up and make this into a nice, even thread head to put our eyes on, and then to bulletproof at the end. So you can use the brush. I like to use a toothpick because I'm a little more OCD than most when it comes to fly tying, if you can't tell. And we're just going to apply this. And much more badass. So I'm going to stick this on the dryer. You don't have to stick it on the dryer. You can stick it on this thing and just let it roll, but we got the dryer, so we might as well use it. And we'll just set it over here and go have a drink. We'll come back when it's done. All right, it's been exactly 3.5 minutes. And this puppy is dry as can be. And now you can see it's got a nice, even layer on it now. The thread's completely covered up, but we haven't added a lot of bulk to it. It's not a completely necessary step, but it's nice, you know. It's just nice. So now we're going to add our eyes, which, you know, is another optional step, but it's nice. We're going to take these. These are hairline dubbin fluorescent stick-on eyes in yellow, and they look nice. And we're just going to apply these. Try to get them on there evenly. Look at it from the top down. That looks about on there evenly. That looks about on there evenly. All right, we're ready to go. UV thick applicator mixing cards, or the old business card. Squeeze this onto here. There we go. Just put a little dab on there and grab my toothpick from earlier. That's dried up. And that's Loon UV thick. And we're just going to put a coating over the rest of the fly. We'll give that a few rotations, let it even out. Looks pretty even. Hit it with the light. Tack free. Fuck, I'd eat that. Option 2 for the kit. And you too can tie that one.